everybody. It's Ashley Tuskegee, Pediatric Emergency Mom. Happy Wednesday. Okay, let's see how I'm going to try to add Dr. Ledet to this live. Anybody know how to add someone to a live video?
Y'all just watching me struggle through
technology now. I have a live talking to Dr. Russell Ledet, and I forgot what day it was, and so I've been stuck in the office. Hey, Christina.
I miss you.
I haven't seen you in so long. Gotta be moving your way. I'm the worst at technology. Well, I try to figure this out. I hope everyone's staying safe and trying to stay warm. I'm cold. I don't like this weather. Kudos to you guys that do this often with really cold weather and ice and whatnot. I don't like it. But I hope they're warm because I saw the weather in Memphis and that looks no fun. At least our stuff kind of melting. Cindy says I am muffled. That's probably because I'm so good at technology. Oh, here. Yes.
I think it's working. Wait, it's about to work.
You.
He did it!
You.
You did it.
What's up? I was
How are
actually I was with my homeboy Jake. You know, we've been making all these reels lately.
Yeah.
So we started a little shindig called the Real Docs. And it's spelled
Yeah.
REEL.
I love them. I try to catch them, and like if I miss them, I like go back and find them. But you guys are a hoot.
Yeah, we're just trying to make
So,
some noise. Try to get people to take the vaccine because they tripping out here.
yeah. Now, did you get yours?
I got both of mine. I got them over at our Lady of the Lake.
Look at that. Look at that. I got both of mine. My parents have gotten both of theirs, which is really exciting. And my kids, as soon as they drop that age down,
Yeah, are
right?
gonna
Like I
get it.
put my kids in some kind of a trial somewhere.
Yeah.
Um,
Did Jack get hit yet?
no, he's not on the he's not on the tier yet.
Oh, okay,
So
okay. Yeah, it's coming.
yeah.
It's
So
coming
he's
his way.
ready. Yeah,
Yeah.
but when it's his turn. But anyway, so I know you're busy, you're super busy, and I apologize for goofing up the day. But
Now
so
you good.
everybody, this is Dr. Russell Ledet. So Dr. Ledet is amazing and wears many hats. And I mean, you're a veteran, you're a Navy veteran,
Hmm.
you're a husband, you're a dad. So you're a girl dad. I'm boy mom, you're girl dad. PhD and now medical student too,
Hmm.
and activist and humanitarian relief now. That
Yeah.
feather in the cap too, which is how I met Russell. Really met through the ER. And he was my med student, but then we hit it off through relief work. So can you just, I really wanted, since this is Black History Month, I really wanted to talk about the 15 white coats
Hmm.
and how you guys, came to be a group and what you do. So can you just share some of that?
Yeah, so the 15 White Coats was founded after a conversation between my 8-year-old daughter then, which is now 10, which is kind of wild. But basically what happened was June or July of 2019. One of my best friends came down to visit me from New York. He and I were getting our PhD in the same lab, and I graduated before him. And so he came down to visit me, kind of took a break away from his PhD. And so basically, what he did is he committed to us going to the Whitney plantation, and and basically when we went, we took my youngest daughter with us, and or I guess my oldest daughter at the time, and she didn't want to go because she wanted to play tennis with her friends and whatever. And but I kind of strong armed her, as parents normally do, and made her go. And we were leaving to come back to New Orleans because it's like 45 minutes away. And she kind of just stopped us mid-sentence about 15 minutes down the road after we had left the plantation, the Whitney plantation. And she told us, she was like, Dad, um, I finally got it. I finally understand why it's such a big deal to be a Black doctor in America. And she told me, I was like, hold on, pump your brakes. I was like, tell me what you mean by that. And she told me, she said, well, just think about it. She said, there was a time when people who look like us were nothing more than just property. They couldn't be lawyers or doctors or accountants or any of that. And somehow, through some way, our ancestors have carried us into this point. And now we have, like, I'm riding in the car with 2 Black doctors. And of course, after I kind of gathered myself from her profound statement, I looked over at Philip and I said, man, bruh, I think we could do something amazing. I told him I'm going to go back and talk to some of my medical school classmates and see if they're willing to go and take this photo with me, and we can show the world how far we've come. So some people obliged, and 15 of us showed up. And we went out there and we took those photos, and then they went viral. Just as I had told them they would when I sent the email inviting people to go. And when it went viral, we sort of said to ourselves, like, we can't use this as a moment to just get some clout. Like, we have to do something impactful. So we decided to form a company. We formed the 15whitecoats.org. And the whole idea is that we're going to raise some money, and we're essentially going to do 2 things. We're going to inspire the next generation, and then we're going to help the current generation. So we can inspire the next generation to become doctors. And then we can help this current generation by giving them scholarships to apply to medical school. You and I both know it costs a lot of money to apply to medical school, a whole lot of money. And if you take into account the economic history in the U.S., right, the people from marginalized communities generally don't have $5,000 to $10,000 set aside just to apply to medical school. And then there's also like a whole bunch of other stuff, like the right mentors to write you a letter of recommendation, and the right information to prepare for the MCAT, and the money, and then understanding all the processes and letters and everything you have to go through to get into medical school. And then getting into medical school, the fact that you can't answer every phone call and all this other stuff. To be candid, like right now, my mom and I think our relationship sometimes struggle because she's like, why don't you answer my phone calls? And I'm like, I literally don't have time right now. Like, that sounds crazy, but I don't have time. I'm like, I don't have a moment to breathe. And she's like, but I just called you. And I'm like, you and everybody else is calling. Like,
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
So that's pretty much the gist of it. Is we're raising money to help, minority medical students apply to medical school. And then we're also putting that poster in classrooms all over, the world pretty much, because it's in the Netherlands now. It's all over Africa. It's in certain parts of China too. Definitely in South America, all over the U.S., and some places in Canada. Yeah, and there's one in Japan too. So,
Wow.
we.
And I didn't realize that I didn't know that part of the story with your daughter. I mean, isn't
Hmm.
that like, that's such a, for a kid
Yeah,
to
yeah,
bring it together
yeah, yeah.
and turn that into like the catalyst for you
Hmm.
guys to really take off. And so for those of you who don't know, please visit 15, and it's 15, right?
Yeah, the
15,
15whitecoats.org.
the
Yeah.
15whitecoats.org. And the picture that he's talking about is really, it's so powerful. So it's you guys in your white coats
Hmm.
in front of this, it's
Slave
not,
quarter.
it's a
Yeah,
slave
it's a
quarter.
slave quarter. Yeah, it's an actual slave quarter from the Whitney plantation. Yeah,
And
yeah.
so that picture ended up on, there's a big group, the Physician Moms group, that's a Facebook group, and it's
Hmm.
75,000 members. And so it ended up on the Physician Moms group and just went, right, it went viral. And so I didn't even realize that that had come out of Louisiana
Yeah.
until, like, then you Google it or you look it up. And so I was like, wow, this is out of Louisiana, and then had no idea that, we would end up meeting and becoming friends because of
Yeah.
hurricane relief. And so then not only are you doing that, but then you kind of, I don't want to say accidentally, but, here comes Hurricane Laura and then pulls you into that life. And so then the 15 white coats. So not only are you trying to work with, like you said, the current physicians and future
Hmm.
physicians, black physicians, to work, say, hey, like, you can do this and we can all work together. Um, Also now doing disaster relief.
Yeah. Yeah, that legitimately wasn't our initial plan, but it was a need, right? Like, so obviously I'm from Lake Charles, Louisiana, and so when it hit, it was personal. It was like, bro, like, this is my mama's hometown, this is my dad's hometown. This is where all my family is from, and this is all I know. So, and then I saw the devastation. I remember the morning after it happened, like, I woke up crying, and I actually had gone into the clinic, the peds clinic for OLOL, and I forgot who it was I was talking to, but I told him, they're like, your eyes are red now, and then I just started crying. While I was like, yo, I was like, I don't know if I need to be here right now. I was like, I need to go get a U-Haul and fill it up, and I need to get back to Lake Charles and try to help people. And she was like, well, just take the rest of the day off and we'll check back in tomorrow. And I was like, I don't think I'm gonna be here tomorrow either. But it was like a Thursday, so she was like, just take Friday off and keep it pushing. So, of course, that wasn't the initial intention. And, I had just come off of Good Morning America, not necessarily for the 15 White Coats, but for my own personal life story. And, Max had hit me back up from Good Morning America and was like, hey, bro, would you be interested in coming back onto Good Morning America to try to raise some money to help with your hometown? And I was like, bro, send me. I was like, send me right now. I was like, just send me the link. I'll be there. And I hopped back on, and we got some help. We got a whole bunch of help. And then obviously, the gracious Ashley came through and just was like a real champion, and literally was linking people up in my wife's hometown, which is like 30 to 45 minutes away from where I'm originally from, and literally flying planes in to get resources there. So it was, I mean, obviously, I did a lot of it, but I think it really just came down to like what was needed, and it's my hometown. It's not like it's someplace I'm just learning about, it's like literally where everything I know is from. And I remember that next day I got a phone call from somebody from the mayor's office, the mayor out of Baton Rouge, Mayor Sharon Winston Broom's office. And they asked me, like, if you could have anything, like, what would you want? And I was like, yo, we need some fuel. I was like, we need like a lot of fuel. I was like, I mean, like, I don't even know how many gas cans it would take for how much fuel we had. And the guy was like, yo, just give me a few minutes. And I was like, yo, I don't even know if I have a few minutes, but like, just make something happen. And he called me back and was like, yo, we got y'all like 9 like industrial size generators, and we got y'all 27,000 gallons of fuel, and sent it all down to the city. And it was helpful. It's so many things that were happening. So, I mean, you know how this goes with hurricane disaster relief. Everything is moving so fast. Phone call, phone ring here, text there, this and that. You know, you got to work with sometimes with people that you don't like, you know.
What?
All the conversations we had in the ER about, like, don't trust them. You got to, you know.
You got to go with your gut. You got to go with your gut.
Yeah. So, you know, I learned a lot from you in a short period of time, really fast, you know, just about you can't give up, but you also got to do due diligence and make sure that people not trying to screw you over, you know. So.
And take care of your own mental well-being, right?
Yeah, yeah.
So for the those watching, so we Russell and I met in the ER. Sorry, my text. I don't know. R2D2 is beeping. But in the ER for work. But then it ended up being that integral time for Hurricane Laura, when it's like now is the time.
Yeah.
You know, when no offense to the federal and state government, but the private sector can get it done more quickly. It's just we don't have those rules and regulations, and so we can get it done. And so you being kind of thrown into that, and like, okay, let's work together. Just go with your gut. You got to do this. You can't do this. You know, this works better. And you're right. And like you said, like not being able to answer phone calls from your mom in medical school and on the medicine side of things, but then this like relief life is next level, right? It's, you don't even know, your phone is like, your battery's dead at 9 a.m. because it's just nonstop. And so it was really great to work with you and to meet, you know, all of the folks from DeQuincy, like Brandon
and them.
new best friends from DeQuincy. And so then to have that relationship, and like we'll always help each other out, right? We'll always have each other's back. And you get like, oh, I got to take a break, and I need a minute. And then you get kind of sucked into another, like, oh, now I need to help, like Puerto Rico, Bahamas, or whatever. And like, and then but it feels good. And it's kind of, you know, it's what you guys are doing with the 15 white coats, and with the medical aspect of it, but also the relief now. I mean, it feels good. And so, you know, Russell, for me, and for other physicians, nurses, mid-levels, right? Like anybody. I mean, nurse practitioner. I saw Mandy was watching. Mandy's a big fan of yours.
What up, Mandy? Yo, Mandy the homie, man. Funny story. Before you had even did a shift with me, I guess I did a shift with you. I had come on. I think it was like a night shift, like 7 to whatever, and Mandy was on. I had no clue who Mandy was, no idea, nothing. I came in there, I sat down. People were like staring at me, you know, like they were just kind of like, you know, and then I walked out because like there was a patient. I was like, yo, can I just go see a patient? Because, you know, when a med student first come in, like nobody pay attention to them. They're like, you just here. I was like, yeah, I'm gonna go see a patient. And I came back and the whole room got quiet. And I was like, yo, what's up? Like, what's up? And they was like, I'm gonna go ahead and tell you, we were just talking about you. Like, I think we know who you are. And Mandy, I think, was the person who started that conversation.
Yeah, I think so. And like, and then I'm getting texts like, "Hey, he's doing his relief work too." And I think like I'm getting these texts. I'm at the airport. We're trying to load a plane. And like, he's doing this relief work. You gotta meet him. You gotta meet him. And so then I got to work like whatever that Thursday or Friday. Then it was like, oh hey. I think you were like, oh hey, wait, you're the relief one, and then it's like, it's not. This is Russell. This is like famous Russell from the news. Like Russell and I got to get to work. Like we got.
Yeah, exactly.
And so you've been on. So Mandy's laughing. Mandy's like, ha. But so you've been on. Like every news outlet. One day, I think I was talking to you, or maybe we were texting, and you were like, "I gotta go. I got an interview with Oprah," and I was like, "Oh, okay." I said hi.
Yeah, things get weird real fast. You know, it's always funny because like, go ahead.
No, you go ahead.
No, I think it's just funny how like, you know, I'll be like texting my friends and I'll be like, yo, I gotta go. I'm about to go on TV. They be like, bro, you just so casually saying that. I'm just like, nah, I'm serious.
You
Like,
are.
I did. I'm like, nah, seriously. They're like, why do you always get haircuts? And I'm like, I mean, like I never really know.
Yeah.
Like, I actually got a TV spot today at like 6:30 or something like that. So it's just like, you know,
Well,
it's
I was like, I messed up the time. That's why I'm doing this in my car, and I couldn't figure out how to do this. And Russell's like, yeah, you're an idiot. It's so easy to do it like this. But because you have another, like, you have a TV thing you got to do.
yeah,
But
at 6 o'clock. So I got time. But I was looking
yeah.
forward to this today because I told my kids all day. I had like some podcasts this morning, and then I had a meeting at like noon with my manager, and then I just finished making reels.
So
Oh, by
you,
the way, so if you're following, go on Instagram, go on TikTok, follow the Real Docs. But it's not spelled like regular real. It's spelled REEL because we're basically just making reels about medical education. So this newest one we're coming out with is about COVID-19, like demystifying COVID-19 myths. Because for some weird reason, people think COVID-19 vaccine is going to give you 5G, or you can stop taking your glyburide because you got a vaccine, or
yeah,
or your
I know.
metformin. Or I'm just like,
Or
bro,
you'll glow,
yeah,
right?
or
Like
you'll glow.
you'll glow.
Yeah, or you get to
Um,
meet the aliens. I'm just like, I saw somebody's TikTok who was like, I'm gonna get to meet the aliens because I got the vaccine. And I'm like, bro, you're gonna be sorely disappointed. There's no
I
aliens
mean,
unless you're on LSD.
yeah, I mean, I didn't get any perks other than like my immune system mounted a pretty cool response, and then that was it. I didn't get
That's
better
the
cell
end of it.
service
It's
or
like,
anything.
that's as far as it goes.
Too bad. My friend Hillary is on, and she has a PhD in immunology, and so she said
Oh,
she loved your panel discussion at AACR. I don't even know what that means.
yeah. So the American Association of Cancer Research invited me along with the head of Merck Pharmaceuticals, and I think it was also like GlaxoSmithKline or something like that. The head of the NIH, MD, like a whole bunch of bigwigs, and then they had this med student on there, you know. And of course,
No,
I had to.
no, wait. Don't just say this med student. Talk a little bit about your PhD when
Oh
you say
yeah,
just this med student.
yeah. I mean, yeah. So I have a PhD in molecular oncology and tumor immunology, and my work focused specifically on protein modifications in prostate cancer. Um, and that work was, you know, that work was published in a really important journal called Nature.
Yeah, it's amazing. Amazing.
So, you know, that's what that is. But it's fun.
So I'm just gonna get back because I think we got a little bit. I got a little bit off when I saw Mandy was watching. But for us, like for physicians, for nurse practitioners, for PAs, for nurses, for respiratory therapists, like any of us in the medical field, like what do you think we can do to help the 15 white coats?
Yeah, I
Or your
think the most
mission?
important. Honestly, I think, and this gonna sound crazy, but it's like really important to us. And this is like a long game, right? Like to diversify. I mean, you've been in medicine for a long time, actually. You know, this idea of diversifying medicine has been around for a really long time. But part of it is inspiring the next generation to become physicians. You know, and I always tell people that photo works in two ways. One is that for everybody who imagines that they have in their head the idea of what a physician is supposed to look like, this photo kind of argues against what a physician is supposed to look like, because we know society sort of paints this picture of what a physician is supposed to look like. It's not supposed to look like a woman. They're not supposed to look black. Their skin is not supposed to be brown. You know, like all these things, right? Like, and so like we could kind of get away from that. But the other thing is too is that for the kids who can't imagine what becoming a physician is like, now they can dream, and that photo can be in their classroom, right? Like that photo can be, you know, the spark that they're like, man, why do they wear those white coats? And it's not just doctors, you know, NPs, PAs, RNs, you know, CNAs. Like we need all those people. We need people who can do medical, you know, medical technologists, radiologists, you know, radio technologists. We need like all these different people. But part of it is dreaming. And so that's why that photo is so important. So the thing I always urge people, especially in medicine, to do is, one, follow us on Instagram. because the more following you have, the more impact we can have in terms of reach. Two, send people to our website and tell schools and learning spaces they can sign up for one of our posters for free. We will send it to them for free. They don't have to pay for shipping.
That's amazing.
They don't have to pay for anything. If they want to make a donation, make a donation. But it doesn't matter. We are raising enough money to send the poster out for free. We just need people to give us an address. Like, all we need is an address and willingness to post up the poster. You know, and then all of that you don't only get the poster, but you get a curriculum that we've developed, like personally developed, that explores, especially for children and young adults, this idea of what does it mean to be a doctor? Like, what does that mean? What do doctors actually do? And then who is capable of becoming a doctor? Because whether we know it or not, our kids, if you sat down with kids and you asked them who's capable of becoming a doctor, or draw for me what a doctor looks like, society and a whole bunch of other things have taught them what a doctor looks like. And we got to dispel that by having images in front of them that sort of, you know, fight that idea, right? So that's really what people can do, is follow the 15 White Coats on Instagram and Twitter and even on Facebook, and then just direct teachers and people with learning spaces, like, you know, community centers and things like that. Even hospitals like Ochsner Children's Hospital just recently signed up for a poster. So they're going to have it up in their hospital. West Jeff Hospital said that they're signing up for one. You know, that's really what. So now kids will always walk into Ochsner and have a different idea of what doctors look like, right?
Yeah.
So that's the goal.
Absolutely. I love asking kids in the ER what they want to be when they grow up, and all kids, right? And so, you know, you do get a lot of, just to be frank, right? And I think you've talked about this. You do get a lot of, well, I want to play football, because they think that's the only thing they can do.
Yeah.
But in the last probably 2 years, I've started getting the, well, I want to play football, but I also want to be, what did one kid tell me? A robotics engineer. And I was like,
that's
holy
dope.
cow, like what? And the mom was like, no, he's really good at like this, and this. I'm like, I don't even know the words that you're saying right now. That's incredible. Yeah. Like, that's incredible. And so, yeah, like, that kids can know that it's not just that thing that makes them successful. It can be anything, because they're starting to see it more.
Yeah, that's the goal, man. It's just to rethink what they're seeing. Kids are very imagery oriented. You know, so many images are imprinted onto their brain, and that definitely shapes the way they view the world, they perceive the world. Yeah, Fatina, I think you're absolutely right. Representation matters. And I think representation matters on so many different levels. Like, you know, somebody asked me, like, you know, why'd you pick Dr. Jacob Corey to do these reels with? And I was like, bro, because I need for you to understand that, like I need to be able to work with Jake, and Jake needs to be able to work with me, such that the patient is better. Like, life is better for the patient. Like, it's all about patient care at the end of the day. Like, if I have a miserable day, but the patients are better when they go home, that's going to be, like, I'm going to be all right. You know, I think I'm at a educational level where I think I can handle and manage, you know, the issues that come along with dealing with a rough day. But a patient who's, you know, glucose levels in the 300s, and you sudden has they go home with that same glucose level, bro, that's terrible. Like, that's not cool, you know?
Yeah.
So that's just where I'm at with it.
Yeah. And Fatina is, well, when I did fellowship, Fatina was one of the pediatric ER nurses at Le Bonheur. And so we worked together, and you know, I'm 5'1", right? Like, we have pictures of you and I together. Like, I look like a 5-year-old. But Fatina might be a little shorter than me, and she's definitely smaller than me. So she's like this little tiny, but firecracker, and I loved working with her.
Oh.
I miss working with her. But also, was one of the nurses that helped me as physicians, right? And I remember when I was in medical school, because my uncle was a physician, and my dad, mom, they were kind of around it. But my uncle or my dad always told me, if I ever find out that you've disrespected a nurse or spoken down
Mm.
to a nurse, like
Mm-hmm.
you're a team and you treat everybody the same. And so Fatina, working with she and all of the amazing nurses at Le Bonheur, helped develop like how I have relationships with my nurses here,
Mm-hmm.
and that brought me to where I am here. And it's been a journey, right? Like, I mean, to be honest, sometimes you lose your temper and sometimes you have to
Yeah.
check yourself, and it
Yeah.
happens.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, if you have a really good working relationship with your nurses, at the end of the day, they can be comfortable saying, hey, look, I know you're having a bad day. Go take a walk outside. Like,
Yeah.
go outside, reset yourself, and then let's go again.
Yeah.
And that you have that comfort level with them. And I know I've done that with Fatina, and I do that with my nurses here all the time. Like, I want this dose. Wait, is that the right dose? Make sure that's the right dose. Let's
Yeah.
recheck. So like, there's no pride. It's we're all working together to make sure, like you said, that we're doing the best for the patient. And then when that patient goes home or gets admitted, we've made a difference, right?
Yeah.
We've done something for them.
Yeah.
Um, so yeah, it's huge. Let's see if we have any other. Julie, where is she? Julie Banta Lee says this public school teacher is crying. You're talking about having those posters in schools.
Tell them to
Yeah,
hit us up. Just go to the website and sign up. I promise you, I'm the person I'm one of the people who sends them to you. So I can promise you, you will get it, and it'll be meaningful not only for you but the kids. It's important,
yeah,
man. I think I remember the idea coming across my brain about putting this in classrooms, and shout out to Brooke Baldwin, who she announced today that she's coming off of CNN. But Brooke Baldwin was the first person to put our photo on national TV.
really?
She called me at like maybe 9 o'clock that morning, and she was like, "Yo, I want y'all to come on my show." But this is wild. I was like, this is wild. I called Sydney Labatt, who's the vice president of the 15 White Coats, and I was like, yo, we got to go in with Brooke Baldwin at like 2 o'clock. She's like, you just gonna casually say that? Like, that's just like, a normal thing. And I was like, yeah, nah. I remember her being like, this photo is like you in awe when you see it. And, now she getting ready to call CNN today, and we actually gave her a shout out on our Instagram stories today because she like put us on the big map. Like after that, we ended
Yeah.
up on Kelly Clarkson, and Kelly flew us all the way out to LA.
Wow.
Yeah, she flew us all the way out to LA, and then we ended up meeting with the guy from American Pie, and it's just crazy, man. It's crazy how all this took off, but the meaningful work behind it is really where we are. It's
Yeah.
making an impact in teachers' lives and kids of those teachers.
Did you ever get to connect with Josh Sherman?
Nah, I didn't. I got a feeling like I feel like we texted at one point and was supposed to call, but
Yeah.
unfortunately, like we never connected. But now when we get off this live, I'm gonna definitely hit him up today and see what's up because I think we should be making an impact together. He coming back to New Orleans, ain't he?
I don't know. I keep hearing people tease us and give us these like rumors that he's coming back. really excited. And then he's like, no, I got too much work to do in Chicago. So everybody's probably like, who the hell is Josh Sherman? So Josh was a emergency medicine resident in New Orleans. He's from New Orleans.
And now he's in
He,
Chicago, huh?
yeah. So he grew up, in he grew up in the ninth.
Yeah, in the ninth.
I think he grew up in the ninth in New Orleans, and then ended up as ER resident in New Orleans at LSU, and so rotated through with us here, and is like one of our favorite residents of all time, because that guy he wanted to see everything, he wanted to learn everything, he wanted to, if he couldn't physically follow every patient, he wanted to see every rash, he wanted to listen to every wheezer at least once. Like, he knew that one day he's going to be out in the world, and he only has a limited peds training, and he wants to see everything. And so Josh is a Black emergency medicine physician, and so he ended up taking a job in Chicago on the south side, maybe. I'm not sure. I'm not 100% sure the Chicago geography, but one of the areas of Chicago that has more trauma, more violence, and is very much like, this is what a doctor should look like. This is what a doctor can look like, and is a huge, I honestly, at this point, I think if he left Chicago, it would be a huge loss for Chicago, because he does so much mentoring to the children in the community there, and he'll often post pictures with his friends who are physicians, residents, and it's 10 different Black ER physicians, and just advocating for kids that this is you, like, this can be you, and there's no reason it shouldn't.
Yeah.
You guys gotta, you're already, you and the 15 white coats are already changing the world, but man, you throw Sherman on that, and it's just,
I think
y'all go global.
I think in my head, like, I don't know if I want to leave Louisiana because of how much of an impact I can make here in Louisiana. But I guess I also had a luxury of being somebody who's, I was in the military, and then I went out to NYU to get my PhD. So I've traveled already. I've already gotten mine out of the way. Some people are just going through that phase now of exploring the world that's different from where they came from. But now that I'm home, and just the love, the love here, the love in Baton Rouge, the TV spot I'm on today is a news reporter from Baton Rouge was like, yo, can you just speak to the importance of, the trust from the medical community with the Black community around this vaccine and stuff like that. Even in Baton Rouge, so it's just like, I don't know if I want to leave. Actually, man, I know sometimes you don't have a choice when it comes down to residency. But if I have a choice, I just don't know if I want to leave. I don't know if I want to leave the amount of impact I can make here. And who's going to take my spot when I leave,
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
I mean,
so it's just like, while I'm here,
you just come here. Easy. That's easy. And who was I arguing with? Like, somebody in New Orleans, was it at Children's? And they were like, no, we want him. I'm like, no, we want him. But no, I get it, because there are certainly times I get frustrated, and I've told you I'd move back to Memphis in a heartbeat, but then there is I feel some responsibility over continuing my work here. And like, one of the things that I feel so strongly about is that kids, regardless of what insurance they have, should have equity of care across the board. And so that's so then, if you leave, then you
that goes
leave,
away.
you leave those kids. Yeah, you certainly do. I wanted to ask you something else, but I don't know. Can't keep track of what day it is. Can't keep track of my questions.
It's because you're getting old, man. You're getting old, Ash.
It's rough. Yeah, it's rough. Natalie Johnson Bird says, it's great to see doctors being great mentors. Kids everywhere need physicians like the both of you. Thanks, friend. It's really nice. And Julie says, that is the level of inquiry I can only hope to see in my kids. You know, looking at
Yeah. I mean, that's the hope.
being physicians. I know what I was going to say. So you're talking to the news about about COVID and the vaccine, and the kind of mistrust or distrust in the Black community with, everything. And so you were talking about you guys' photo in front of that plantation. And this summer when we were camping, and we ended up driving through Tuskegee, Alabama,
Mm-hmm.
and through the middle of town. And I told Jack, like, man, once I realized what was happening, I told him, like, God, I wanted him to pull over, but it was like pouring or something. There was a reason we didn't pull over.
Yeah.
But the middle of town, right, they had this huge blue tarp
Mm-hmm.
over that Confederate statue, and it was so powerful. What ended up being, somebody did, a lot of people took a picture of it, but it was one of the National Geographic, like, pictures of the year,
Mm-hmm.
and it was so powerful. And so I think a lot of people don't know about the Tuskegee Trials and why there is such a distrust in the medical community. And I mean, honestly, not even just as it relates to vaccines, but medical care. I think we have such a long way to go. I mean, there's studies from within the last 5 years, right, that Black and Hispanic kids their pain didn't get treated
Yep.
the same as other kids, which is it's just a gut punch. I mean, it really is.
Yeah.
And so then we still have work to do within the walls of our hospital to make sure that the community knows that we treat people. When I go into that room, that's my kid.
Yep. Yep.
Until I discharge them
Yep.
or admit
Yep.
them or whatever.
Yep. Yeah, that's a different approach. I definitely walk into a room and I'm like, that's my auntie, that's my grandmother, that's my grandfather, that's my uncle, that's my son, that's my daughter. And when you think about it from that lens, the care you give is not just like, oh, well, I just want to hurry up and get them out of here. Because, like, when it's your child in the ER and you frustrated, you don't want somebody to respond like that. You want somebody to have the patience to understand that, like, you're frustrated with your current situation. I mean, we got to be honest with ourselves. Our medical system is not the most perfect system. And not only that, but, like, I just, Jake and I made a reel a few days ago about what was it about? Oh yeah, it was about maternal mortality facts amongst Black women. Right? So, I mean, if you think about that, the fact that education and the amount of money you have doesn't put you at a better position in terms of maternal mortality facts in what we claim to be the best medical system in the world is unorthodox, right? It's like weird. You can go ahead and come, honey. It's fine. Yeah.
Hey.
Yeah, she's just getting home from work, so, and I'm doing it in the living room because I'm at home with the kids.
Already said hi.
Yeah. She can't hear me because I got these headphones on. Hey, Ashley said hi now. She said hi. She's getting home, so she going to check on where our kids are, which I have no clue right now.
Sure, it's fine. You have girls.
Yeah.
Like,
I mean, yeah, they either like coloring. Or...
Does she give you a run for your money?
Oh yeah, the youngest one is just like, it's like a fireball. It's like
she would fit in well at our house.
Yeah, like how like who was that was hanging from the top of the headboard the other day?
Henry.
Yeah, Henry. Yeah, she like a girl version of Henry. Like, definitely will like take a whole stack of money and put it in her backpack and then walk around while you looking for the money that she didn't hit in her backpack.
She is Henry. She's the female version of Henry. Henry took a bunch of change from like my parents' we call it my parents' room, the free front bedroom, took all the change out of there and filled up his rice bowl and was like, Pop said I could have this. I'm like, did he? Like, oh my gosh. Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah, she's a fireball. She like a full fireball. But I think she's very much like me. My oldest child is more calm. She mellow. She very much like my wife. But the youngest one, bruh, she a problem. She is a problem. Like, I hope
Look,
to God she never ends up on social media. Lord Jesus, I'm gonna need help. Like, I can see her being the one like going off on somebody on an Instagram live and being like, "Why did you post that? Like, why?"
well, I mean, she's a strong-willed lady, you know? Like,
Nah,
so
man, nah. I'm just like,
look, Neil deGrasse Tyson, before we had Jibby, we were watching, I don't even know. I've tried to find it. I haven't been able to find it. But we were watching Neil deGrasse Tyson, and he said, he was talking about raising kids, and he said all kids, little kids, are scientists, and so we have to foster their, their
curiosity.
curiosity. And if you tell them no, 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 and squash it, then like
Yeah,
that's what, kind of defeats or crushes their exploratory personalities and their scientific mind. And
yeah,
so we tried to keep that in mind. But man, sometimes it's real hard. It's
yeah.
real
It's kind
hard.
of difficult. It's kind of
Yeah.
difficult.
Yeah, but yeah, so I won't keep you much longer, but you're talking about maternal morbidity and
Mortality. Yeah,
mortality,
yeah.
yeah. And I mean, I trained in Memphis, so the NICU at the Med, which is not the Med anymore, it's Regional 1. I mean, it's one of the highest infant mortality areas in the country. Um, and yeah, that's an area we have to do better.
Yep. Yeah, we got to do much better. I mean, obviously there's other things like diabetes, HIV, obesity, all the health disparities. You can line them up. And I mean, there's other, we have this thing called social determinants of health, right? SDOH in medicine, and we talk about it all the time. And the bottom line is that, like, man, bruh, we got so much work to do in medicine. Like, I guess we're gonna have a job for a while. Actually, yeah.
That, yeah, I mean, it's like you hate to look at it like that, but it's true. And well, we can't even go. We, you know, we'd have to do a whole separate live on like, access the food deserts and access to healthy foods and um, all of that. And that's a whole nother soapbox. I won't get on that one, but it's yeah, we're gonna have jobs for
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah, yeah.
So you have an interview this evening. What's your next like big interview?
Tomorrow. I have. It's actually not an interview. I have a really, 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 really big speech tomorrow at for the global Leica Biosystems like company at noon.
Wow.
Yeah, so
Gonna be working in the ER.
yeah, I
AW.
mean, I'm just gonna knock that out, get some good sleep tonight, eat some good breakfast, maybe like some, biscuits and gravy, and drink a good glass of orange juice, and then go knock it out the park. And then let's see what
And
else I
then
got tomorrow. I think that's about it.
but then you also like, so all of this, right? Like 15 white coats, your research, but then you're still a med student and you're still having to do your rotations and
Yeah.
still studying for step 3. Did you take step 3?
No, we take step 3 in our first year of residency, so I got step 2.
Did I take step 2? That's right.
sis, you
Step
took that
two,
way long time ago. You ain't got to worry about it. That's the
yeah,
problem.
man.
But it's all good.
Step two wasn't too bad. Step one, why? Why? Do
Why
you
is
see
that a thing? Why is
there
step
was
one a thing? You know, it's
the
pass fail now.
TikTok?
But
Really?
after I take it,
Man,
yeah,
that's
it'll be all right.
unfortunate.
I think I'm gonna be all right. I think
Yeah,
I'm gonna be okay.
but there was that like a TikTok of this guy, and he's like after the step, and he's talking to his friend. He's like, "Yeah, I just paid a lot of money to feel really bad about myself."
He's not
That's
wrong.
it.
I mean, it kind of
Yeah,
sucks. It is what it is.
yeah,
I mean, it's part of the process to don the white coat. That's
yep.
the privilege. Don the white coat, and then at some point get paid well.
Yeah, well, I think we do it, man. If we wanted to be rich, we would do something else. I don't know,
Something
but we do.
else. This is not it. This is not it. This is not it.
It's not it, but would you do anything else? Nah, you wouldn't.
Nah, I think I you know, I think the the feeling I have when a patient walks out of the hospital, like let's say for instance, CHF exacerbation, patient comes in, can't breathe, man, when that patient walks out and they like, man, bruh, I'll tell you a funny story. I started my internal medicine rotation at the VA, which was an honor beyond. I talked about it so much on my lives. So had a guy, never forget him. Guy hadn't pooped in like 2 weeks. He hadn't pooped in like 2 weeks. So we fill him up with Miralaxin Center, Miralaxin Center, Miralaxin Center, Miralaxin Center. And he's just miserable. He laying in his bed. He may be like 80, 90-year-old Vietnam vet. And he just like, I hate this. Like, come on. Can you just kill me already? And then we gave him an enema. We gave him another enema. And we were like, all right, me and my resident were like, we're going to go back downstairs. We're going to wait 2 hours. If he doesn't have a defecation in 2 hours, we're going to manually decompact him.
Yep.
So it was me and Jake. Me and Jake walk back up to go check and see. 2 hours pass. We go back up to check and see. And there's like some nurses and CNAs in there wiping the windows and the walls and everything. And I'm like, what happened? And here it is. The patient is like, ah. Bro, he was like, I'm the best person in the world.
Oh my God. That is awesome.
Hey,
That is
look,
awesome.
and then he told me, and he looked at me and Jake, he was like, you all are the best doctors on the planet. He was like,
And you're like, it's something that it's like so, like, it feels simple, right? It's like, you do, yeah, I mean, people you clean out, right? But for him, that was
life
crazy.
changing. It's life changing.
I got into trouble at the VA for talking to the patients for too
For too
long.
long.
Yeah, because I wanted to know, like, what branch and where were you? And man, you get these, and I mean, I was fortunate because when I was there, like, we would have World War II vets, and if I got a World War II vet,
Wow.
I'm sitting there, I don't care what's going on. The rest of the hospital can be on fire, and I'm like, tell me more. It's amazing, right? But yeah, that you're right. Like, just that feeling of like,
Yeah.
man, we did something, and this guy
Yeah.
is really happy.
Yeah.
That
Yeah,
that's an incredible.
I had a guy tell me that he met General MacArthur. Yeah, legit.
Whoa.
And he was like, and I didn't honestly care because I had troops to care about. He was like, so I told him, can you please hurry this conversation up so I could get to work? I was like, dang, bro.
That's hard.
That's like next level. Like he got a boldness that we need to talk about for a little while. So
yeah, that's amazing.
It's great. I posted so much about it on my Instagram stories, just how meaningful it was to walk through the VA and just, see the flags and just like, it was so many small things, which is so different when you've walked in those shoes and donned that uniform, because it hits you different, you know? And it means a lot, because, like, you know, at any moment I could be one of those people, you know?
Yeah.
And so, like,
Yeah.
I would always walk into my patient's room, you know, when I go in there to get my initial H&P, and be like, listen, let me tell you something. I'm a veteran just like you. So this means just a little bit more to me, because I understand how meaningful this care is for you. And I know where you're coming from, because I done walked in your shoes before, you know?
Yeah.
So, and they would always appreciate me for that, because they like, dang, man, I've never had a doc that was a veteran. I mean, you know, it's rare.
Yeah.
But it's a
And
thing, so.
I really, I mean, I knew I wanted to do pediatrics, but that was my one regret in not doing adult medicine, because I would
Yeah.
have loved to work at the VA. I mean,
Yeah.
it was incredible. So have you decided what
Eee.
residency you're gonna do? Have you
Ash,
just
I knew you was gonna put me on the spot on a Facebook Live. I didn't kind of decided, but it's gonna sound crazy. So on one hand, you got to hear me out. All right.
okay?
So on one hand, I want to do triple board, which is peds, gen psych, and child and adolescent psychiatry.
Yeah, we had talked about that. Yep.
And on the other hand, I just want to go straight to pharma and not do residency. You know, I mean, nah, the reality of it is this. This is the real reality. Like, this is a legit reality. When I sit back and think economically about what's going on, I have to convince myself to go to a job for 5 years and get paid practically minimum wage for 5 years.
Yeah.
I will never regain that earning potential. Like, never in my lifetime. And not only that, but, like, if you were to ask me, can I make just as much of an impact in those 5 years without going to residency as going to residency, I have to take a long, hard look, because I do think that on the trajectory I'm on right now, like, I can make an impact in the community without this.
Yeah.
And that's like a thing that I have to, like, be objective about and say, like, bro, I understand that, you know, the natural progression of a clinician is to go from medical school to residency. But one, I'm not young. Two, I'm not unaccomplished. And three, like, I can do a lot of things without
When you're
being in a
not,
hospital.
and you're
And I
not,
got kids. And I
you have
got
your wife,
kids.
you have your kids. Yeah.
And
You're
they
not
ready
alone.
to have, like, a regular life for just a little while. Like, we've been
Yeah.
on this train for a really long time. And so, like,
Yeah.
it's legitimately a conversation. It's like a real conversation. I mean, of course, you know, at some point I'll sit down and talk to you about the decision I gotta make, but it's just like, and I understand why there's like this apprehension from attendings to be like, no, don't do that. And I'm like, bro, you ain't standing in my shoes. You don't understand that. Like, I had a career as a full-fledged scientist. Like, I'm a full-fledged scientist, published full-fledged scientist. Like, I'm not just, medical school is not the only thing that I've ever done.
Yeah. Well, and because I took 3 years after residency and worked, and then went back into fellowship, and I remember having that conversation with my dad. Like, this is a ton of earning potential that it's gone. And so I don't know if people realize, but when you're a resident or fellow, you don't get paid so much. But it was a decision that Jack and I made together, but we didn't have kids at the time, right? So it's a different decision. But I think like hearing you talk it out, I mean, you have such an amazing platform, and you have such a strong voice, and you have such a strong following. My hesitation, and the reason I shake my head, is because I know how you are with patients in the
Mhm.
room and
Mhm.
with kids in the room, and I
Yeah.
would hate for that, like I would hate to lose that. But so if you didn't have that platform and your voice didn't get out there like it does, then I would have to say absolutely not. Like
Yeah.
your voice needs to be seeing, these 10 to 15 kids on a shift, because that's the only way they can hear you.
Mhm.
But that's not the only way they can hear you.
Yeah.
Um, and so yeah, my gut was like, but
No.
then hearing you, and knowing, right, like what you can do and how far your voice can go and how many more people you can impact
Mhm.
outside of the walls of a hospital, then like I gotta give it to you, I mean, I think
Yeah.
that I think whatever you decide is gonna be the thing you were supposed to do. And when I say
Yeah.
you decide, you and your wife, your
Yeah.
family, what y'all
Yeah.
decide together, for
Yeah.
sure. And Jack said, hashtag Dink Life. Dink Life is double income, no kids. Dink Life is like, we made that decision when we were hashtag Dink Life. Double
Yeah, I
income, no
mean that was
kids.
like so like when you hashtag double income no kids, bro, you balling
Yes.
out of control. But now y'all got Henry, like y'all got a whole family. It's just like, bro, imagine you got two kids. They like our oldest child is 10 going on 11, and she's at that stage where she's just like she needs dad around. She needs for me to take her to the tennis court and just spend some time with her. My wife need to be able to know that we can go on a date. Like in
Yeah.
residency, you don't really, you ain't really getting no date time. Like when you off, you
Yeah.
sleeping or you studying. Like for real, like
Yeah.
bro, you ever seen residents walk around? They're like zombies.
Zombies. Yeah.
It's like, you like
Zombies.
what day it is, and they're like, I don't know what day it is. Yeah.
I still do that. I didn't know today was Wednesday. Remember?
So it's a thing, man. And it's a
Yeah.
hard um it's a hard thing to have to consider because I feel like to some degree I'm gonna be alone. I'm gonna be rare to make that decision, but I can also live with making rare decisions. I've made rare decisions up until this point, as long as I know what the next step is for me and my family, and it's gonna make us all, because I mean, my wife wants to go back to school. If I'm in residency, it's gonna be difficult, like,
Yeah.
because the time is just, and she's literally been like the ride or die up until this point. It's just like, man, like when are you in a position to give back? To
Yeah.
lean in. Like the book talks about leaning in, and it's my turn. And it's hard to do that when you legitimately out here talking about I'm about to go work 18 hours a day, 6 days a week for pennies.
Yeah.
4 pennies. Like
Yeah.
my kids can't go to a good school. You know, it's just like it's hard. It's a hard decision to make. And the reality of it is I don't know if it's truly worth it. I can't tell right now. I got to sit down and do some real good cost benefit analysis and ask myself that question, and say to myself, like, is this something you really want to do? And if it is your whole heart going to be in it? I think if I had to make a decision right now, at this very moment, I would go ahead and do the residency and do the triple board, and hopefully try to do it in New Orleans. But I don't think it's wrong of me to make those considerations,
No.
you know?
No. Yeah.
So,
Yeah. You'll do. I mean, it'll. You know what? I stopped worrying. I stopped worrying about how am I going to staff the ER? Do we have enough staff? Do we have, like you stop worrying about all of that, because whatever's going to happen is going to happen. God will take care
yeah,
of it.
yeah,
And then whatever challenges he makes you go through, it's for a
yeah,
reason. So you'll make the right choice.
Yeah, so I mean, I don't have no doubt I'll make the right decision, but you know, it's just not simple.
Well, and the great thing about this is like, if you decide on one or the other,
It won't be.
there's no finality. You can always,
Yeah,
you can
yeah. It's
change
not
your
the end of
mind.
the world,
Yeah.
you know.
And I think, and
Well,
what people probably don't realize, the, the beast that is medicine, um, there's probably always been a little bit of pain in it. But the way things are now with insurance companies and EMRs, or electronic medical records and documentation, and all of these regulations, is that the joy of medicine is often sucked out. And so there are so many physicians who are looking for ways out, and some find a way to incorporate what they do. Like I have pediatric emergency mom. I don't make any money off of it, right? But I just enjoy doing it.
mm-hmm.
And so some people find a way to bring their joy, their medical joy, out into their life. And some people are just like looking for a way out, like anything they can do to
Yep,
pay the bills, take care of their family, but like not be in the rat race every day. And it's
yep.
sad. I mean, it's sad for patients, that patients end up having to suffer, but we also have to think about our own mental well-being, because it's a grind.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. That's where I'm at with it, you know. But you know, it's kind of crazy. You actually the first attending to like reasonably respond, legitimately.
I mean,
Like,
I didn't like right off the bat, but
yeah, but
you
I
got,
mean, at least it was like, all right, okay, all right, okay, all right. This is something that I at least think about, and I get it. But at the same time, I'm just like, you know, I'm just like, bruh, like some of y'all don't even enjoy your job. Like y'all, like there's so many attendings walking around like, bro, you hate your job. Like you do not like your job. You hate it. It's like you hate what you're doing. I mean, sure, it's like from a societal from a societal perception perspective, it sounds amazing. But like I want to be able to do something where when I wake up to go to work, I'm like excited. And that's
yeah.
not wrong. Like that's not a bad thing. You know, I want to be able to
Mhm.
love what I'm doing. And I will say this, I love learning medicine. I love learning medicine because it's so complex and there's always a challenge there, you know?
Yeah. Yeah.
And I think that's really the part that I enjoy the most. But at the same time, I'm just like, I don't know if I can keep going through this grind, man. I got kids that
Yeah.
I really, 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 really want to spend time with,
Yeah.
you know?
I know.
So,
I know. I think you, like I said, my initial reaction was like, hell no. Like, heck no. But I don't know, maybe I'm a little different because I did take that time in between residency and fellowship, right? And so I then came out as an older attending, and I know how hard that part
mm-hmm.
can be. Um, and so yeah, I mean, I think it's certainly a reasonable option.
Yeah.
Yeah,
We'll
yeah,
figure it out. We'll figure it out. Me,
yeah.
you, and
You will.
Jack can sit over some Jack and figure it out.
So funny story. So you're talking about your wife going back to school. So when I was in fellowship, Jack had a hard time finding a job in Memphis for what he does, right? So he does environmental sciences.
Mm-hmm.
He does a lot of coastal restoration, and it was hard to find something in Memphis. And so he had gotten his master's from University of Memphis in environmental sciences. And so he contacted his master's advisor and asked about getting his PhD. And so the joke was he wanted to get his PhD so that he and I could play out the Spies Like Us scene, Doctor, whenever we wanted to. That was kind of the joke. And still to this day, if you ask him why he got his PhD, that's like the number one reason. Uh,
I
but that's
love it.
kind of,
I love
yeah,
it.
I mean, he kind of started getting his PhD when we were in Memphis, like, because he had always thought about it, but he couldn't get a job, and he wanted to be able to make this joke anytime he could. But then after fellowship, or when my fellowship was ending, and we talked about, he said that I never said that's a joke. It's not a joke. But when we
I love
talked
Jack,
about
man.
it,
I can't wait
he's
to
a
have
mess.
a drink with Jack now.
He's a y'all would no, he's a mess. Um, you know, and then it was his time, right? And so then we made it work for him to finish, and then he's like the only fool that'll work full time and finish a master's, and then work full time and finish a PhD. And that's what he did. But we found a way to make it work. So yeah, I get that part too. That it's your time, then it's her time. It's my time, then it's his time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. We'll sit down and we'll definitely sit down and have that conversation over dinner soon and just talk about, you know, the approach that you all took. But realistically, it's also like, I think there was a moment when I was in medical school and I felt guilty to even have this conversation that we're having right now. But I think now I'm at a place where it's close to the rubber meeting the road. I'm almost a fourth year, and I'm having to say to myself, Russell, you need to be realistic with yourself, and you need to be honest with yourself about what do you want to accomplish in your life and what do you want to do with your life that does not require anyone else's approval. Because at the end of the day, when you die, you want to be happy with the life that you live. And not everyone around you needs to be happy with the life that you live, but you definitely need to be happy with the life that you live. And so, you know, it's
Well, and there's guilt. There's like the guilt factor too from the medical side, like you're saying with the attendings,
yeah.
right? So then you feel guilty, like that you're maybe choosing a different path, but then there's the home side too. Like it's hard. Jack says, by the way, DINK is greater than HIDN, half income dual notes, car and house. Plus tuition, plus all that other stuff, you know?
Yeah, Dink is
Yeah.
way better than HIDN. I'm gonna tell you
Yeah,
that right now.
but Dink is, you know, then like
Nah, Dink is amazing. Let's just,
the
since you can
but
call
we're
Dink what you want, but it's amazing. I mean, I love my kids. But
but
you
man,
know
like
how rich I would be without my kids. I'd be balling out of control. I'd probably
yeah.
be like, we would be having this like live on my yacht. Like, I'd be yachting right now. I'm not even interested in yachting. I'd just be yachting just to yacht. Like, I
Why
don't
did you
even know if yachting is a thing, but I'd be
want to
trying
know?
to yacht. Like,
Oh my God, yacht life. Hashtag yacht life. I mean, I wouldn't know what to do. Yeah, but no, you're right. But like we love the chaos and they're so fun and they're so like some days you're like, I just want to, like I love you, but I don't like you, you know. But just so fun. Uh-oh, did he freeze? Did I freeze? Oh, he said his phone just died. He said his phone just died. No problem. Well, okay, we're just going to have to finish this up another time. Hey, thank you all for watching. Super fun with Russell. And yeah, Google him, Russell Ledet. He's like all over the news. Good Morning America, People, CNN, like you name it, he's been on it. And we didn't even talk about his like history. So Navy, PhD researcher, and worked as a security guard in at one of the local hospitals, and then ended up back as a med student at that hospital. So it's just he's got a great story and a great message for everyone, like not only the youth but everyone. Anyway, y'all have a good evening.